Welcome back, watch people, and it's back to what is back to normal after a couple of videos about more personal bits and pieces, which you guys seem to have enjoyed. Thanks for your feedback. We're back down to business tonight, and we're talking about buyer's remorse. What is it? How can it be avoided from both a retail perspective and from a customer perspective? Because look, you know, if you're a watch dealer, like I used to be a watch dealer, obviously, and buyer's remorse wasn't such a big problem for me. And I'll tell you why, because I've done a video on this before. My sales techniques, or my main sales technique, was to be quite relaxed and to try and convince my customer that they were perfectly safe in dealing with me, because I wasn't going to try and force anything onto them. And that actually, whilst I did genuinely mean it, and it was genuinely a part of my way of working, it's also a very clever sales technique, because you're actually giving your customer the confidence that he or she may need to actually go ahead and make that purchase. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy in many ways. I find that the pushy sales technique has the complete opposite effect in many instances. And if you are a pushy salesman, if you're working in a store where you have pushy salesmen, or if you're a boss and you employ pushy salesmen, you'll find that your buyer remorse rate is a lot higher, because those customers don't necessarily want to buy the watches that they eventually walk out the door with. Hence they're coming back a few days later. So if you're a retailer, the way to avoid buyer's remorse is just to relax and take the sting out of your salesmen, out of their sales pitches, and just to be a bit more cool, calm and collected about how they treat their customers, and how far and how fast they want to push them in to making a purchase. If you're a customer looking to buy a watch, then my advice to you would always be, as it's always been, to take your time, to relax. That watch is not going anywhere. It's not a life-saving operation. It's not a life or death situation. You don't have to make that decision there and then. You are completely free to walk away, go and have a drink, go and have some lunch, go and sleep on it. But if you take your time and you're more relaxed about your own decision, research the watch that you're buying. I mean, look guys, I get a lot of people every day asking me about a decision they're about to make on a watch. Should they or shouldn't they pull the trigger? Now, these are not emails, unfortunately, that I can always reply to, because I've said it before and I have to say it again. You know, I can't answer all of these emails, but what these people are doing is they are looking for some confirmation. They're looking for some advice. They're doing some due diligence and some research before they actually pull the trigger on the watch that they're potentially going to buy. The buyer's remorse issues tend to kick in when you go out on your own. You go out into a world where you don't really understand what you're doing. You make a choice there and then on the spot, perhaps influenced or pushed into it by a salesman, and then a couple of days later you realise that it wasn't really what you wanted. So I think patience is the key word when you're buying. If you want to avoid being a victim of buyer's remorse, just be more patient, do some more research, and just take your time in general, and choose your dealer very carefully. If you find yourself in front of a dealer that's trying to push you into a corner, you know, make your excuses. I know it can be difficult, but make your excuses, walk away and find someone that's going to be a lot more relaxed about the whole thing. So what should you do if you find yourself in that rather difficult, sticky and awkward position, an embarrassing position really, of waking up one morning and you find yourself with the dreaded buyer's remorse? Well, I think my best advice would be to just be honest with your dealer. Now obviously it depends on the length of time that you've owned a watch. Is it the next day? Is it the next week? Is it the next month? Obviously there's a limit, isn't there? You have a money back guarantee, or you have a guarantee of sorts before you leave his store. Don't forget, your money back guarantee is completely different. Your rights are completely different. If you're buying in store, in person, and you are being shown and handling those goods before you make the purchase, your rights are a lot different to those people who are buying online It's called distance selling regulations, and they are a whole heap different. So if you're a distance seller, if you're buying on the internet, you have one period. If you are buying in store, it's completely different. So if you are buying in store, you need to make it clear what is your guarantee on that watch. What is your money back guarantee? Is there no money back guarantee? It could just be an exchange guarantee, which in some circumstances I think is fair, and rare circumstances. But let me tell you what those circumstances are. When I was running a retail bricks and mortar business, I would have a number of people in during any one year. The summer was very, very active for this sort of thing. And basically we're talking about dishonesty, we're talking about deception. In all honesty, there's no other word for it than deception. I would have couples come into my shop quite often on a Thursday. And on a Thursday they'd be looking to buy a pair of ladies and gents watches, sometimes matching. Obviously Rolex was the main brand that they'd be looking for, and you would get a feeling, you would develop an extra sense here. This couple are getting married at the weekend, okay, and they want matching Rolexes to wear for their wedding, and you know where they're going on the Monday. They're coming straight back to you as the retailer with some ridiculous excuse and to get their money back. Now look, as a retailer, I was not a dress hire shop, I was not a watch hire shop. I don't loan watches for weddings. That's not what I was in business for. And if you sniff that out, if you're an experienced retailer and you sniff out a watch loan, and holidays is also another thing as well. You would have gentlemen come into your shop, they would drop, whether it would be deliberately or just because they can't help but tell you, they drop in the conversation that they're off to Barbados next week, and they're looking for a Submariner or they're looking for whatever, and you're thinking, geez, I know exactly what's going on here. This is a holiday watch, and you know that in 14 days time you're going to see this person standing at your shop window just looking a bit more tanned, with the watch in the box, and he's going to be looking for his refund. So if retailers sniff this out in their shop, if retailers feel that you might be a watch loan, what we would call a watch loan, then don't be surprised if they tell you that their terms and conditions for this sale is not a 14-day money back guarantee, it's a 7-day or a 14-day exchange basis sale. Now if you feel that's not right for you, then you've got to tell him, but in all honesty, that could be one of the reasons that they'll offer you an exchange basis rather than a money back guarantee. Not always, every deal is different. My policy when I was dealing was I would offer a 7-day money back guarantee if you bought in store, and a 14-day guarantee if you was buying the watch from a distance regulations viewpoint. I think the laws have changed now as far as distance, and I'm not quite sure what the period is off the top of my head. I'm sure someone will tell us. I think it's actually longer now, but this is where the law is very much in the favour of the consumer and against the retailer. And obviously being an ex-retailer, I tend to fall down on the retailer's side because I've seen what people can do to watches in 14 days. Listen, when someone knows they're not going to keep a watch, they can do more damage to that watch in 10 days than a genuine buyer will do in 10 years. And that's a big problem for us in the watch business. So like I said, look, if you do find yourself regretting your purchase, just be honest with your dealer. Tell him the truth. If he's a good guy, and as long as there's no damage to the watch, or there's not been any major issues, or there's nothing lost as it were, then I'm sure that you'll come to some kind of arrangement that suits you both. But the worst thing to do is to lie to him and just make out that there's a problem with a watch that he's probably going to spot pretty quickly, that you're pulling his leg, and he's not going to be too impressed. Well, that just about wraps this one up, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to please do all the usual YouTubey stuff, like, subscribe, share, etc., etc., and we'll catch up again soon.